I often get requests that I should review lower spec models, cars for the people. With this in mind, I asked Mazda to book me a test drive in their base diesel CX-60, preferably in the lowest trim possible. Is that the way to go? Let's find out. Unusually, I'll start with the pricing. This test car on the day of recording costs €52,760. Under the bonnet is a 3.3 litre 200 horsepower diesel which drives the rear wheels. An 8-speed automatic is standard regardless of the powertrain.
This is the second lowest trim, called Exclusive Line. It features things like automatic headlights, reversing camera, 20-inch alloys, heated steering wheel and heated front seats, HUD or rear air vents. Things that the base Prime line model doesn't have. This means jumping from €46,150 to €47,850. The next trim costs almost $4,000 more, so the Exclusive Line doesn't hurt and adds almost all the features we expect from a mid-size modern SUV. Almost, because regardless of the trim, some features are bundled with other options, like the electric tailgate, which is a part of a €2,500 convenience and sound package. If you want adaptive cruise control, that's part of a €1,600 driver assist package. This should be standard, at least on higher trims, but it's not.
So, our theoretically low-cost CX-60 includes more than $3,000 in two bundles, from which I would choose maybe 2-3 items, and I'd expect everything else to be standard on higher trims.
So what are you paying for? The size. Mazda CX-60 is almost 20 centimeters longer than the CX-5. It has a 17 centimeter longer wheelbase and is almost 11 centimeters wider. The CX-60 is also larger than the Alfa Romeo Stelvio or the Volvo XC60. The Kia Sorento is longer and comes in a 7-seater version, but we won't see 7 seats in the Mazda until the CX-80 comes along later in 2023 or early 2024. The CX-60 is built on Mazda's new Skyactiv multi-solution scalable architecture platform, which is for rear and all-wheel drive cars with longitudinally mounted engines rather than transversely, as it is the case for most front-wheel drive cars.
In addition to the 2.5-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine in the plug-in hybrid, Mazda also fit a 6-cylinder inline-6 diesel under the bonnet. Mazda claims this engine is economical both in rear and all-wheel drive, so let's put this claim to the test, shall we? During the CX-60 launch event in 2022, I drove the plug-in hybrid. Now, for a 327 horsepower car, it was somewhat sluggish, and today, as I'm driving the 200 horsepower diesel, I think I understand what the problem is, and of course it's all about emissions and configuring the powertrain in such a way that it doesn't unnecessarily spew out precious grams of carbon dioxide and other harmful substances into the atmosphere. By default, the CX-60 just doesn't go. The car starts in normal mode, and for a 3.3-litre diesel it struggles to gain momentum. It also feels quite rough. Only switching into sport mode helps the CX-60 breathe. It almost starts to feel like a 3-litre BMW or a Mercedes, even if the BMW X3 with a 3-litre inline diesel is faster than the range-topping Mazda CX-60 with a plug-in hybrid.
But even with a 200 horsepower diesel, the CX-60 is, in a way, like a BMW. So it's faster in 0 to 100 km/h sprint than the specs suggest. Instead of 8.4 seconds, I got 8.1 seconds in normal and sport modes. So that means in normal mode the throttle response is suppressed, but pushing the pedal to the metal still releases everything there is. It's just unpleasant. In sport mode, when the CX-60 stays in lower gear and responds more readily to the accelerator, the car is more pleasant to drive, but not so economical.
Speaking of economy, the CX-60 with a 200 horsepower diesel should use less than 5 liters per 100 kilometers combined. It comes out closer to 6 liters in my test, but for a SUV with a 3-liter diesel, it's not a bad result. And with the terrible response in normal mode, getting good economy is easier because the car struggles to go above 80 kilometers per hour. This is a mild hybrid which should help dynamic driving, but I have the impression this only helps in sport mode, and in normal mode the engine is more likely to shut off and the car just coasts. Soundproofing, I mentioned this during my first drive review in the plug-in hybrid. In the cabin you can hardly hear other cars. You mainly hear the engine, which is okay when we're talking about a petrol engine. Unfortunately, Mazda diesels have a less pleasant sound, and above certain speeds the interior just gets unpleasantly loud. Now, during the first drives, I also noticed the steering wasn't as direct as I'd expect from a Mazda. In tighter turns, I have to add lock to follow the road. The steering is also quite vague, and sometimes the car just meanders on the road. And as you come out of a sharp turn, like out of a junction, the steering is too slow to return to the center, so watch out for those curbs. This is nothing like Mazda's Jim-by-Tai philosophy.
The suspension is unnecessarily stiff. Since the steering is relaxed, the suspension could just as well have been tuned for comfort. Meanwhile, the interior shakes unpleasantly on larger bumps. Driver assistance systems? Play around with the settings to find a combination that fits your driving style. Some of the warnings can be either turned off completely or set to vibrate the steering wheel, for example, rather than make noisy chimes.
Especially since driving the CX-60 in traffic with adaptive cruise control is horrible. The castrated diesel in normal mode doesn't help. It was better in the plug-in hybrid, where the electric motor took care of the crawling in traffic. Also, lane keeping assist system can't see the lines on the road every now and then, and there are warnings that the assistance system is unavailable. Now, I don't expect BMW or Mercedes quality of assistance systems, but I think Hyundai and Kia have set the bar at a good level.
The cross-traffic alert when reversing and the warning when you open the door and there's an object approaching work well. Visibility is theoretically better than in the CX-5 because the A-pillars are bent at some special angle and the bonnet drops, but you're still driving a car with a long front end because there has to be room under the bonnet for an inline 6-cylinder.
Yo, too many ads, man. Well, I'm sorry, but do you work for free? This is how I make a living, and you can become a channel member and get to watch my reviews ad-free. And there's also early access to new videos, so click join.
The cockpit is fine, but not great. If you like to spread your knees a bit, the CX-60 will disappoint. Now, the version with manual seats seems to have a bit more space because you can sit lower than in the version with electric seats. Now, with electric seats, you also get a system that can adjust the driving position based on your height, and it's not very good. If it's any consolation, it's also not very good in Mercedes, but that's a topic for a different episode.
The door pockets are okay. The digital instrument cluster has several display modes. They are easy to read. The infotainment system is also easy and logical. It features wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but if you want, you can turn the wireless feature off. Similarly, the wireless charger, which you can turn off as well. There is a 360 camera, which comes as part of a convenience pack, which also includes the power tailgate. Good thing there are physical buttons for climate control. There is also digital controls for contents of the central display, although Apple CarPlay and Android Auto can be controlled by touch. The storage compartment under the armrest is flat, but a phone or glasses will fit in. The glove box is average size.
I'm also not a fan of the gear shift lever. Now, reverse, neutral and drive are in one line, but for you to go into park, you need to pull the lever towards you. So this is probably why there's a warning chime every time you go from D into reverse. Oh, I'm in reverse and I wanted to park.
There's less space in the rear than I would expect from such a large car, but part of the larger dimensions is the long bonnet for the inline-six. There are door pockets, an armrest with cup holders, air conditioning vents, USB ports, and a 220-volt outlet. Regardless of the powertrain, the boot volume is 570 liters in 5-seat configuration, 1726 when the second row seats are folded. Mazda has levers to fold down the backrest from the boot side, including a separate lever to only fold the middle section. There are no shopping bag hooks, but there is a styrofoam insert under the floor with room for the repair kit, tools, and a cargo cover. The finish of the boot, especially on the deep end, leaves much to be desired though. And something in here knocks frequently. I suspect that without a load, the floor jumps up on bumps because when I carry my equipment, it is quiet-ish. Prices for the Mazda CX-60 start at €46,150. This test unit costs €52,750. A much better equipped all-wheel drive version with a more powerful diesel can be had for more than €60,000. Now this sounds like a lot of money, but an X3 starts around 56 grand, so maybe ticking a few more options on a Mazda can disappear in a monthly leasing installment.
So, is cheaper better? Not in Poland. It seems that over here the CX-60 has a high conquest rate and attracts people with a 60 grand budget. And what about you? How would you spend your €60,000 on a car? Let me know in the comment section below.
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.